Yeah, so this is really lovely. We just started talking, but I want to just announce Jacqueline Kane. I'm having a really great conversation with you, and I figured we better make this available to share. There's lots of people who could benefit from hearing about what you do and learning more about their own journey and themselves through your
Mhm.
work. So you were just describing to me a little bit about the work you do. Now, there's a you specialize in pain, but it's a very particular and unique way that you explore that. So let you take over and tell us all about it.
Yeah, so I don't like the word maintenance, pain maintenance, or support groups, right? I want to help people get to the root cause, and I think that's always in the background. That's always been my goal was to get to the root cause of physical pain. So I became a massage therapist. I worked in X-ray first, so I learned a lot about the body. So I have that medical background.
Interesting.
And then became a massage therapist, learned Bowen therapy, which is a neuromuscular repatterning of the body. So those are the physical body work things that we can do to the physical body.
Mm.
And my goal was constantly, okay, we did this. How did that work? And I really started doing a lot with the psoas muscle. So we have a psoas muscle, and it's a specific massage that immediately people would get off the massage table, and feel 75, 80% better. Their back pain would be reduced. And then the next few days, it'd be gone, which,
Let's talk a little bit about that because I know there's probably a lot of people who don't know about this muscle. I have a background in dance, so I do know about this muscle, but it's
yeah.
very important. So let's describe where it connects in the body and what it links together, because I think that'll help everyone visualize how
Oh
important.
my God, it's so important. So it sits in front of the spine,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, when you go for a massage, you're usually lying flat on your stomach, then you turn over and we work, then you lie on your back. But the psoas muscle sits in front of the spine. So it connects to the diaphragm. It passes in front of the spine, the vertebrae, the thoracic, and the lumbar, and then comes through the pelvic area and attaches to the femur on the inside of the femur. It
Yep.
connects the upper and lower parts of the body, right? It
Absolutely.
can cause low back pain, hip pain, knee pain, shoulder pain, TMJ, plantar fasciitis. I mean, the list is endless. It's crazy.
It's deep. It's all the way in there.
It's deep. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my first workshop in learning about the psoas muscle, going into the abdomen, right? Because it's the only way to approach this muscle. And if you're having a massage, the only way to get full relief is to address the muscle from all different angles, right? So we have to
Mhm.
go through the abdomen. But we also put you on your side in a sideline position to really work the glutes and the piriformis, because that's where you have trigger points. Athletes, dancers, golfers, there's a lot of trigger points in there. If you stand all day, if you sit all day, like if you drive, and this part of the body is our core, it's your foundation. So that starts everything above it and below it. So it's a really important muscle, but people don't want to go into the abdomen, right? Like
Yeah, they're
that's
like
our
squishy.
sacred
Oh
space.
yeah, it's a very delicate. We
Yeah.
have an automatic sort of clenching that we do when people try to go for those soft spots.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's our intuition. It's a really important part. Like we always listen to our gut, right? You feel it in your guts, your sensations. So it's your personal space.
Hmm.
But oh my God, like when you have that massage done, you feel lighter, looser, more flexible. People say their pain goes away for weeks after that, where nothing else works.
Yeah. Now this is a really great segue because I always think it's kind of like there's a poetry to life. There's a poetry to all of the connections to the things, and you just started bringing it up, that listen to your gut phrase, and that there's a physical correlation, an actual physical correlation. It's not just a saying, right? And this area of the body is also, we talk about it as our creative center because it's where our reproductive organs exist. And that connects us, of course, to our lineage, right? Now, you were talking about our ancestral clearing. Can you start to weave that in for me? How did that start to show up in your work? I'm very curious about that.
Oh my God, I write about it in I've been I have been blessed this year to be in write chapters in books. So the latest one, that's Ancestors Within, I write about this story that it was a few years ago, and my husband's family is from Ireland. My mother-in-law was born there. And it was Christmas time, and my sister-in-law had lost her father and her sister, and it was like November, and I'm like, why don't we go away for Christmas this year? Why don't we just get out of Dodge? I knew she was going to be upset about it. So my mother-in-law was like, we're not going, don't want to go back there. And I was like, oh, all right. I'm not really sure why, but I guess we're not going. So a month later, I traveled to Texas because I live in Connecticut, to experience a 3-day event with one of my teachers, Alan Davidson, and he takes us through this ancestral clearing. We do the process. I didn't feel too much during the process, but I'm leaving the conference room and my phone starts buzzing. And it was my son saying, hey, I found a house for all 13 of us in Ireland. And I just read the text and I'm like, that's great, but we're not going. Then another text comes through. My husband's like, Mom and Dad are on board. We're planning and we're looking at flights. And it was just snowballed. The planning was amazing. The trip itself was amazing. My mother-in-law still talks about how amazing the whole trip was. It was the best thing we've ever done. But that day, when I started getting those texts, I was like, what just happened?
Yeah.
Those moments when there's an energetic shift that you can't explain, right? But it was profound. So I was paying attention to all this, and then I'm like, oh, I wonder if this is the missing piece for my clients who massage, Bowen, nothing helped them relieve their pain, right? So I started doing it with my clients. And the results since then, the better I get at it, the more I clear, the more I'm just an open channel, the better the results my clients get. And it is profound. People sometimes just by having one session can get out of their low back pain.
Wow.
I recently was able to, my son was home because he lives in Dallas, and he was going through a hard time. So I did an ancestral clearing with him. Granted, he's not in a lot of pain. He's in his 20s, but there were just issues around work, and there were just ancestral patterns. So it's about the pattern that is coming down, right? So my son was experienced the pattern of getting looked over at work, of not feeling respected. He was going to go from one job to a next. And I don't know if you have children, but for the children, moms out there, don't mess with our kids, right? We want our kids to have an amazing life.
Yeah, exactly.
So I said, honey, this is just a pattern. Your father had it, your grandfather had it. So we cleared it. And again, the things that show up afterwards are amazing. Life just gets easier. The right opportunities show up. Healing finally starts to begin, right? And it depends on how heavy their energy is, because some families who are really in it, the energy they carry is heavy. And they're like, this is how we are. Nothing's going to change. Like it's a stake, in the ground. So it can be a process. But if you're living with pain and you've had surgery, you've tried everything and nothing works, this is why.
Yeah. What I really find so just captivating and really, how do I describe this? Cosmic, about your share is that you were in Dallas doing this workshop. You were just in Dallas. and your whole family is off doing presumably their own thing. Now, in the world that we were taught about when we were kids, you don't have connections with people who you're not in a conversation with, right? There's like that doesn't exist. But what we're all finding, and we're starting to find this more and more, is
Yeah.
we're developing a language around it, right?
Yes.
A lot of people use the words quantum to describe those connections, and it's the kind of a scientific term, which is nice because it lends credibility, but it's missing some familiarity for us and for lay people of all backgrounds to be able to share that language. But what I'm seeing is that, those of us who, and everyone is qualified for the work of ancestral clearing. That's like the amazing thing. We all are qualified. We're all doing it really without knowing it, right? But we become like envoys, carrying the energy through for other people. Not everyone has to do the direct work to be able to benefit from the clearing. So when people come to you, they have a ripple effect on their entire family because of their own desire to take care of themselves. And that's just so beautiful and amazing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. And we also free those the generations that came before us because they're still stuck.
yeah.
Right? And you clear it for the future, for your future
Mm,
generations, for your children, your grandchildren, all those that are going to come before you.
mm.
So, yeah, it is all energy. And it doesn't matter what term you use or you feel comfortable with, it's energy, right? It's energy.
That's amazing. So you also brought up inner child work. Can we talk about that a little bit too? How did that start to weave into your work? And I also want another question because I'll forget it. How have your clients received this? I mean, I imagine people have come to you of all different backgrounds because they're like, I have an ouch. Can you help me? Right? How have they responded to you being like, let's do some ancestral
Yeah.
clearing?
Jack, who are you? What are you doing? What do you offer? And there's some people who are in their head and they need to know. They get stuck like, I'm not so sure. And I have a wide range. So I've been evolving. My clients have been evolving, but some just want it's about just take care of the physical.
Yeah.
Okay. So we just do the massage and or we do the Bowen and they get a lot of relief out of that. But I'm attracting more even like healers, even
Yeah.
other massage therapists who are still in pain. I did a poll in one of the massage therapy groups. How many of you are in pain? And the amount of massage therapists who are in pain working all day long doing, massage therapists have to work hour to hour, 1-to-1.
Yeah.
So and most massage therapists are probably struggling, especially with COVID. They were hard hit. So they can't take a break. So they're doing as many as they can.
Mm,
But this is the missing piece,
right.
right? So so it depends on who's coming to me. Some people have done a lot of work and they get it. And when I say you've done a lot of work, but you're not there, right? You're
Right.
still in pain. You're still not making the money. And I know this because I've been there too.
Yep.
I've been that struggling massage therapist or, the person doing all the ads and it doesn't land,
Yeah.
right? It's
Hmm.
the energy that we've been missing that can change everything.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. So we're talking a little bit now too about the financial, the financial results that people experience when they're working with you. Now, you're not a business coach, right? You're an intuitive and you are, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but a healer, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about this financial piece. How did that start to show up? Was that like you stumbled upon it as a result, or did you get like some kind of intuitive nudge about that?
Well, I'm also a Tapping into Wealth coach by Margaret Lynch.
Oh,
And she talks about the conditioning and the programming that we are taught when we're born and when we're raised by our caregivers. So if they struggled with money, then that's in us. If there was financial trauma, like you were sued or something happened or bankruptcy, that's in us. Remember, the ancestral energy is the unresolved emotional issues of our ancestors. So whatever they went through is in us. the financial and the health.
Mhm.
But even going deeper and I hadn't really put the connection together, but more people after we do an ancestral clearing, one woman said $6,000 showed up out of the blue.
Oh my God.
Granted, she was owed it, but it finally showed up and
Right.
became physical. Other people, many people get refunds from their taxes.
Yeah.
A one woman received like $3,000 from her mother to buy a car. So we open up the financial abundance. We open up the receiving, right?
Mm,
And
yeah.
it comes in all kinds of ways.
That's
So
amazing. Yeah,
yeah,
that's amazing. Amazing work. When did you become certified as a wealth coach in the tapping into wealth model?
that was a few years ago. That was, I don't even remember the exact date, maybe like to 2013, around then.
It's
Yeah.
amazing. Wow. Yeah, oh my goodness. I have so many beautiful notes here. What an incredible story. So you mentioned your son. Do you have more than one child?
I have two young boys. Well, they're in their 20s,
Yeah,
both graduated college and working in their fields and
very
doing
cool.
well. Yeah,
Yeah,
very
that's
excited.
awesome. Very cool. Oh, that's beautiful. Yes, I love this. Well, I hope that your work reaches a lot of people. It sounds next level, like really marrying the and kind of removing the illusion of separation between the
Mhm.
physical and the spiritual. And that's, I think, the thing that's really striking me. I love that.
Yeah. Well, we're not just physical, right? We're energetic, spiritual, emotional.
Yeah.
When did we ever learn that feelings aren't safe or it's not good to talk about feelings, right? Or your emotions? All those words of don't take it seriously, get over it, move on. Like, really?
Right.
Our kids today are empathic. They have amazing tools. They're not, I was working with a client yesterday and she's like, well, I have mental illness. And I said, I'm not really sure that's true. I think, have we mislabeled mental illness? Is it just you're so in tune with energy and the people around you,
Hmm.
but there's been no language. There's been nobody to say you are energetically evolved, probably, right?
Right.
More than anybody else.
Yeah.
So if we taught you the tools to
Hmm.
clear your energy, put up a protective barrier,
Right.
you wouldn't have to go in your car and be by yourself. You'd be able to be with people.
Yeah. And more too, I mean, mental health issues, addiction, those things pull people way out of their relationships with their family, with their community, everything. And I think that you're bringing up a really important point about our words give us power. Words allow us to communicate. Communication is how we shift energy. We need the words to shift the energy,
Right.
and if the energy shift revolves around a diagnosis, then you have something permanent
Mhm.
and that won't change. And there's impacts of that too, real world impacts. If something's in your medical record, and this from your background,
Mhm.
it's never going to go away.
Mhm.
You
Never.
never get out of a major depressive disorder diagnosis, and you never get out of your medical history. You cannot escape it, and there are things that you can't have in life or that are very challenging to get when that happens. Insurance policies are one of those things, so that
Yeah.
totally interrelates to this financial piece you're talking about.
And you get labeled so young. I mean, one of my kids, he had behavioral issues. And yeah, you could have said he was autistic. And it wasn't until it was later on, like elementary school or high school, when I actually had him tested. And yeah, he was borderline. I refused to have him a label. I didn't want that on him. So I did the natural route. I did, you know, it's all heavy metals. So you find a naturopath who will remove the levels heavy
Mhm.
metals from the physical body, from the brain, actually. And you wouldn't know it to this day that that was him. We
Amazing.
don't. So be very careful if you're going in search of a label. Why are you going in search of a label? It doesn't, you don't have to do that, right?
So powerful. Yeah. So powerful. Amazing. Yeah. So good. Let's talk a little bit about what is going to happen in your future. You are doing some writing. You're being asked to contribute your knowledge to spread it and have it received by a broader audience. So, what are you seeing for yourself? What level of impact are you really called to make in the evolution of your service?
Mhm. I would really love to help moms find some peace because, especially during COVID, moms are inundated with way too much work and
Mm,
one more thing to do. Um, and I've also know what it was like to be a mom who was working way too hard, people pleasing, and taking care of everybody else, and living with the traumas that we've experienced. Um, and I think women need help and support. So I
mhm.
would love to have a center helping moms and whole families, because if we're labeling our kids, then we're hindering them in what they feel that they can create going forward. And we're creating more trauma for them. And that's
Right,
not good for the world or society.
right.
Um, and if we can heal the families, then we can heal first of all, I don't think our medical model is really helping people. So if we had a better business model, health model
Yeah,
to really heal, not
yeah.
just take care of a
Not
symptom.
to- Right, yeah. Hmm.
And it sounds like that's exactly what you're trying to get here. That's a different that's a different life. And
Yeah.
people will be more empowered. They will take back control of their health
Mm.
and be more responsible for themselves
Yeah, yeah, that's so beautiful. That's a
and feel
really,
good about it, right?
yeah.
That they're in control no matter what happens, matter what virus comes through or what
Hmm.
happens outside, they know that they're safe and
Yes,
they have the right tools to stay healthy.
that's amazing. It's amazing. It's a whole new society, right? It is. And it
Mhm.
does start with families. So I can see why you'd want to work with moms. It's
It's a
really beautiful.
huge mindset shift. It's a big ask for the world, but we'll see where it
That's,
goes.
it's shocking how nothing is more contagious than an idea, right? That's
Right.
the thing, is that there's once you find when you find the words that express that, it'll just it explodes out there. Like it just goes. I swear I've encountered some things that I've said one year, like years later in a totally different country. Like, when did
Oh,
this idea, we're doing it together. It's not one person has to carry this. So it's amazing.
yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much for this inspiring conversation. I had chills repeatedly throughout this. It's very fascinating too, the knowledge base that you have, just the curiosity that it triggers in me, and I'm sure a lot of other people you work with, is just a real delight. So thank you so much for talking with me, Jackie.
Thank you. This has been amazing. This is
Yeah.
and the fact that we're in the same state
I
surprises me
know,
even
how
more.
cool. Yeah. So we have a couple more minutes, and then I'm in the middle of a workshop right now. We're doing my company, the Holistic Business School. We do a 5-day workshop periodically to help women who have holistic businesses design digital signature programs. So live coaching, learning management systems and all of that. The main focus is really just helping women who want to impact more lives figure out how to take their one-on-one magic and create a group coaching container out of it. So that's what we're doing right now. We're in the midst of this workshop now. So I've got to go and get everyone ready for our 1 p.m. So yeah, I'm going to do that shortly. But did you want to hear a little bit more about the Holistic Business School and kind of talk about that a bit?
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So, yeah, if we had had this conversation a week ago, I would have just asked you if you wanted to come to the workshop, but you'd be in day 4 if you joined us now, so it might be a little much. although it's fine if you did want to dabble and check out some of the trainings, we'll certainly help you access that. But the Holistic Business School, Shelly Ryuta is our CEO. Now, Shelly was a clinician she was a psychotherapist and working on reservations with the Native population, helping them to deal with the trauma, helping them to deal with the lays of the land and the, the societal trauma and the familial issues, all of that stuff was going on. She was part of a board there and working with patients. Being realized, a couple of years into working under her license that her hands were tied. There were only so many people that she had the actual time to help. And then there were the administrative dramas, that pull us out of the work. And so the first thing she did when she started exploring, serving on a broader level, was she started a coaching company called Radiant Life Coaching. And it was for mostly women were drawn in to it. And it was just designed to help them, discover their life purpose or be honest with themselves about their life purpose. Because most of the time we're not discovering it. We're just unburying it from all of the layers of conditioning.
Right.
So she was doing that for many years. And then she noticed that as these women were activating their life purpose and starting to move into action around it, that they did not know how to run a business. And that's how the Holistic Business School was born. So she has been working with women for 11 years now, helping them to launch businesses online, and typically works with women who have a successful business already to help them really leap through the layers of prosperity, because we're souls of service. And, like you were talking about wanting to open a center for mothers and children, that sounds to me like something like a nonprofit type of an organization, right? So getting having our own, being able to fund our own good works in the world is really important, because it allows us to ensure that the ethics, integrity, and values of those things that we create are resonant with their original inspiration, exactly what they were meant to be. So we help people to develop very, very prosperous businesses. And we're not shy about saying that we're working with women to break through multiple six figures and to graduate into $1 million holistic business. We're just very upfront about that's what we do, and we're seeing it happen. We're doing it on a daily basis, so we know that it works. And it's very inspiring to see what our clients create. So yeah,
wow, that sounds amazing. That's awesome.
Really great. Yeah, it's really, really good stuff. So yeah, like I said, we're mid-workshop right now. We've got another workshop coming up in November. And we have other materials out there. If you just want to get a feel for the energy of the people who are drawn in, of Shelly, I'm happy to pop you into the group and you can kind of meet her digitally. Do you want to do that?
Sure.
Awesome.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. I really I've loved talking with you and learning all about this. And I hope that we stay in touch. I mean, we're kind of neighbors. We're a little far away, but we're kind of neighbors.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'd love that. This sounds like a great idea, and everything that you're doing to help empower more women and create more millionaire women is important.
Yeah. Yes. Millionaire women who have holistic mindsets and are trying to elevate the consciousness of the planet, for sure.
That's right. That's badass.
Yeah, it is. It's badass. We love it. All right, awesome. So I'll invite you to our group. It's like a pop-up group just for the workshop, so it'll be a temporary group. But yeah, we start at 1 with a live training. Today is the day that we open enrollment, so don't get freaked out by that. We're just going to talk about what the program entails, and then you'll see if you want to.
Awesome.
Yeah, beautiful. Really fun talking with you, Jackie. Do you go by Jackie or do you prefer Jacqueline?
I go both.
Okay. Awesome. Yes. Have a fantastic day, and hopefully we'll see you at the training.
Yeah, it was really great. Thank you.
Yes, I'll give you this recording too, so we'll exchange emails in the messenger.
All right, great. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.